You also heard about the African American Teachers Association? All right, he spearheaded that with G2 and Van and other folks as well. He also went into school districts. The superintendents knew him by name. The chancellor knew him by name. I saw him one day. He said, "Mr. Fernandez." He said, "Oh, no, don't call me that, Sonny. You know, call me Freddie. You know, call me anything." Because people knew what Sonny Carson would do. In fact, he's the one who caused the schools to get security guards. One time, Sonny and Ali and some other folks paid the superintendent, the chancellor was called the superintendent then, the chancellor downtown, a home visit at 110 Livingston Street. And they commenced to commit physical therapy on some people down there. And as a result of that, the chancellor moved to the 10th floor for the second floor and got some uniformed folks. And then when Sonny was out here all over the place, he said, "We better uniform the whole city, because you never know where that brother's going to strike." Now remember, he was a trailblazer. So he renamed Reed Avenue, Malcolm X Boulevard. And then he said, "What's the name of that school over there?"
262.
No, he said, "What's the name of that school over there?" So he said, what kind of name is that? We better get El Shabbat. We're going to rename this. And we also going to march on the streets. So we marched down the streets. We intimidated the school boards, you know. Then he said, "We're going to do Marcus Garvey Boulevard." And then he wanted to change the Pulaski School 304. So that's some unfinished business. AB wanted to do that. He wanted to change that to one of our heroes, one of our heroines. So that's a task for us to do. AB got his ancestor Samuel Carson from the Navy, who was a part of the Underground Railroad, came in from South Carolina, got his remains and took his remains back to Ghana through the door of return. We got to continue that. He left us a legacy that we must continue. AB named streets, we must continue doing that too. We must know the history of these. There were 200 streets in Brooklyn named after white folks who owned us as a people. We got some work to do, folks. 200. AB would say, "Right on, straight ahead." He said a few other things too. We're not on hold right now. He said a lot of things too. So I'm saying that we who are here now must move from articulation to action and do some things right now. We must instill what he has done into our youth. So this coming summer, everybody who will be working with youth must instill in their youth some kind of a program where they will know who Sonny Abubadika Carson has been for all of these years. For instance, there's going to be a videography group. It will be documenting Black Brooklyn. Brother Raheem going to be a part of that. Young brothers and sisters going to be a part of that. And then we're going to put some of those on television. We're going to make sure it permeates all of the youth citywide. In fact, Brother Charles Barron, when we renamed the park over there, has agreed that we're going to do a Sonny Abubadika Carson Summer Classic, like at Olympic. It's going to be all over the place. All right? Everybody needs to get down with that. Be prepared for it, okay? All right. As AB would say, Black Power. Black Power. Black Power. Black Power. Black Power. Black Power.
Whose streets?
Our streets. Our streets.
I'm going to call on our next speaker to give you some insight into their creativity and understanding. Sometimes we work with time, and time is life. We waste our time, we waste our life. So we're going to move on to where we're going. Brother Nana G2, and I'm even saying that wrong, John Branch.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Black Power.
Black Power.
Race first.
Race first.
And Kuji Jakalia.
Kuji Jakalia.
Kuji Jakalia, self-determination. The second principle of the Nguzo Saba says that we have to define ourselves, name ourselves, and speak for ourselves instead of being defined and spoken for by others. That is the essence of freedom and liberation, self-determination, and this is what is happening today. This is the focus of today. But we're also here today to honor Sonny Abubadika Carson, who I always called my big brother. And I told Sonny, because sometimes people used to walk up to me and say, "Are you Sonny Carson? We got the same kind of stature. We have to wear the same hat and the African, West African suits." So, yeah, right, exactly. He's the big brother. And we always shared stories. He was the big brother too, growing up in Brooklyn, because he was a member of the bishops and I was a member of the chaplains down in Fort Greene. But the important thing is that out of the street, many of us rose to contribute to the community, and this is what Sonny did. Sonny, we need to really tell the whole story, and Michael Hooper and many others touched on what he's done here in Brooklyn. Brooklyn owes him the naming of the street because Sonny had done so much. And Michael Hooper mentioned the Malcolm X School of Common Sense. My oldest daughter, who's 44 years old now, she went to that school before my other children went to Uhuru Sasa. So Sonny set the tone for black independent schools, because after that then the other schools start popping up, Uhuru Sasa and many schools around the country. But it was Sonny who was the pioneer in that. Sonny has done so much. Restoration Corporation, he's the one that jacked up Robert Kennedy, to make that happen. People need to know about that when they see that. Of course we know the African burial grounds and the street naming, so Sonny deserves it. And because he was filled with self-determination, he was going to speak his mind right in your face. But we cannot allow people to turn that around and say that he hadn't done anything and he was negative. He did a lot of great things in Brooklyn, and he deserves to have a street named that more than that. He's one of the heroes in Brooklyn. And so we need to tell his story. We need to speak his special truth, because, we have to stand behind our brother. So I'm glad to be here today. Self-determination is in the air. Black power.
Black power.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Sonny Abubadika Carson.
Sonny Abubadika Carson.
His spirit shall live forever, because you see that he ain't dead. Because, this is why, his spirit brought us here today and continues to agitate, educate, and organize. Sante Sana.
Sonny Abubadika Carson!
Sonny Abubadika Carson!
Sonny Abubadika Carson! The next person that I'm going to bring to the floor is to give you an insight into some of the work that Sonny has done in reference to covering all corners of the earth. That when we put folks in council and we put them in in our legislative positions, we ask them to vote. They have an option to say yes or no. They have to vote. We're not asking them if we agree with them or not. We ask them to vote. So in doing so, we have someone who has no problem with voting in the way in which he feels and believes. And so we're going to call on our brother that don't need no introduction, Charles Barron.
Carson. Long live. Long live. Sonny Carson. Sonny Carson. Long live. Long live. Self-determination. Self-determination. For the black nation. For the black nation. Long live. Long live. Sonny Carson. Sonny Carson. Long live. Long live. Sonny Carson. Sonny Carson. Somebody asked me, was this official? Well, I'm an elected official, so that makes it official. The black community, you want it, that makes it official. We have some reverends out here who are officially representing God, that makes it official. We can't have no white members of the city council be the ones that determine whether something for us is official